friends. This is insight number 18, inspired by my daughter when she was in Montessori school at 2.5, 3 years old. So she went to a Montessori school in Austin, Texas, and she was really young, but she was ready for school. She was ready for learning. She was ready for community, being an only child. And one of the things that this school taught her, which then we were taught as parents, was that we were always to be responsible for our part. So in a Montessori, it was brilliant. In a Montessori, when two kids have a conflict, there was a peace table. And they were to sit at the peace table and identify for each other what their parts were in the conflict. So there was no blame. It was all about responsibility. What was my part and what was your part? And then what can we learn from each other in order to create a resolution? So she learned this at such a young age. It was so helpful for our relationship and still is continuing to this day. And I actually use it all the time. Okay, we make a mistake, we have a conflict with anybody in our lives. What's your part and what's my part? And when we take responsibility for our part, just our parts, not the whole thing, there's no one person to blame. It's each of our parts. We always have a part. And when we buy into that philosophy, conflict is so much easier. I love this one. As she got older, the table turned into a flower, and then it was a rock, so that whoever's was speaking about their part or what the other person might have thought the other person's part was, this person speaking got to hold the flower or the rock, and then when you were finished, you hand that over to the other person, and then they get to speak, so one person gets to talk at a time. It was a brilliant, brilliant learning that I carry with me to this day. And it doesn't have to live in Montessori. In my opinion, it should be living in the whole world, that concept. We all should be living by the concept that we each have a part in any conflict. It's one of my favorites. They're all my favorites, but this one has a special meaning, as I learned it when she was just 2.5, 3 years old, and we still use it to this day. I hope it helps. What do you think?